So it's starting to get cold out. We're starting to get into the winter months. Well, maybe not so much here in Southern California, but where some of us live, it's starting to get snowy and cold. So today's nails are kind of inspired by the snow and the cold. And so there's some quick and easy designs that you can incorporate into a lot of your regular nails. And so let's get started with our demo. So I've already got my nail prepped and ready to go. Cuticles pushed back, shine removed, protein bonded, form on. We are good to go. Okay, so I'm going to start with the Speed Clear. I'm going to put a few scoops into my mixing jar here. And the glitters that I'm working with today is going to be Funkadelic, which is what I'm going to mix into my glitter, or into my acrylic. And then I'm also going to be using Gap Tooth Grin as kind of the accent into the design. So we'll start with the Funkadelic. Just give that a good mix. Okay, so I really like kind of that purple bluish hue to it. I think we've got enough glitter, enough acrylic, and we should be good to go. Now, when I do any kind of a glitter design or anything on the nail where there's going to be glitter, I always like to pick up just a small pearl of clear and drop that down onto the nail just to kind of give myself a little bit of a barrier. So when you're changing out your designs, you don't have to file all the way down to that natural nail to remove all the glitter. You've got that little bit of a barrier. And then I'm going to take my glitter mix, pick up a pearl. I'm going to drain out that first pearl, bring that a little bit more to a clay-like feel so I can sculpt out my free edge. And we're just going to do just this solid glitter nail all the way through back to the cuticle. Okay? Like I said, you guys, this is kind of a clean, easy look, nothing too complicated, nothing too over the top. So again, I'm just building out that free edge, and we'll come back in and do another pearl at my cuticle area. Now, when I'm working with glitter, I do want to keep my application fairly thin because I am still going to be applying clear over the top of it to encase that glitter so I don't end up filing the glitter off. So at this point, I'm just trying to create glitter. I'm not trying to worry about structure. And again, I'm pulling that pearl over the whole nail. I'm going to take a little bit of that mylar, and I'm just going to kind of place that into the nail. I'm just using my brush to touch the mylar and then touch into the nail. Now, this is going to stick because my acrylic is still a little bit wet. If you feel like you're moving a little slower, maybe your product is setting a little bit faster, maybe your room is a little warmer and your product is setting faster than you were thinking it was gonna, go ahead and pick up just another small pearl of clear and just kind of brush that through, and then you can pick up a little bit more of that mylar to add it in. Okay, so once I've got my mylar how I want it, now I'm just gonna cap the whole entire nail. So just like you'd be doing a regular overlay, I'm going to pick up my pearl, drop that right down at my cuticle area, press out my cuticle, and I'm angling that finger downward to kind of let that product flow down that free edge. This way I don't have to do a ton of work in guiding it. I can just kind of tuck in my sides, make sure everything is staying on the nail, and then I'll blend it out. And once you cap that with the clear, that's where you really start to see that purple bluish kind of a glow. Just absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so I got my stress area, arch area, doing just fine. I'm going to pick up another pearl. This one I'm going to drain out just a little bit. I don't want it to flow quite as much as our first one. I'm going to drop that down, and I like to just blend that right back up into my stress area. I'm going to wipe out my brush, and then I'll come back and blend that through the rest of the free edge, again creating my structure. I think we've got our structure where we need it. I'm going to let this nail set up. I'll file it into shape, and then I'm going to show you another design that we can do on top of this and another design that you can accent your set with. So I'll file this up and we'll show you those next steps. Okay, so I've filed out our first nail, and I also sculpted out a second nail. I'm going to do a couple of designs that I've kind of been seeing around the internet a little bit, so I can't claim these as my own, but I do want to share them with you because they are super fun and super easy, and they look more complicated than they really are. And also for those of you that got the Flash and Burn at the Black Friday sale, this is going to be a great way for you to use it. So on our first nail, I've already protein bonded it. We're going to top coat. I'm going to use my Ultimate Finish top coat for this nail. And then we're going to just freeze it in the light for about 30, maybe up to 45 seconds, but I'm not going to do a full cure. And I'll explain why when we get to our design. Okay, so again, we're just going to pop that in for a quick 30-second freeze. So that is set into place. So I'm going to grab our liner brush and I'm going to grab the fizz from our Mission Control. This is our white gel paint. Okay, so again, at this point, our top coat is halfway set. And the reason for that is I still want to have enough grip to where my design is going to adhere. If you fully cure it, then it may not have enough grip to grab onto our Mission Control paint. So I'm going to take a little bit of that white. I'm just going to kind of run a little bit of that right up around the cuticle area. We're going to create some little icicle effects here. And so just kind of feathering that down. Pick up a little bit more of my gel paint. Again, up around my cuticle area. So I want to get as close to my cuticle as I can, but you don't want to be touching, so I do tend to leave just a tiny little bit of a gap in between there. And again, just kind of pulling that down the side here a little bit. Just let it kind of fade off a little. Okay, so now we're going to come in with our icicles. And I'm just going to kind of give a little bit of a round curve and then pull down. Okay, same thing here. Curve and pull down. So we're not just going to do straight lines. We want it to kind of connect right up in this area here. Okay, and again, if you do get a little bit of shakiness, that's okay, because if you guys have seen icicles, they're not a perfect straight line. Okay, so again, this is one of the reasons that I really like this design, because if I do get a little shaky, it's okay and it's still going to look good. So give it a little bit of a wiggle, even if you don't have shaky hands like I do. Give it a little bit of a different shape. Again, we don't want just that straight line. Give it a little bit of movement. And just keep adding in your icicles. Make some longer ones, some shorter ones. And then kind of round out that connection area. And I'm using a little thickness to my paint. I don't want this super thin because we're going to add in some of that Flash and Burn. And we want enough of our gel paint for it to adhere to. Okay, so once you have your design, we're going to just use kind of that sugar technique. And we're just going to sprinkle a little bit of that right over the white. So wherever our gel or paint is, it's going to grab onto that little bit of sparkle. Just give it a little bit of texture. Okay, so we'll tap that off and we'll cure that fully for 1 minute. So that one is set. All I'm going to need to do at this point is just dust off that little bit of extra and our nail is done. Okay, let's go on to our next one. Again, this one is filed. I'm going to use a little bit of swipe to clean that off. And then I'm going to coat this one with a coat of protein bond. Okay, so again, we're going to come back with our Mission Control Fizz. That's our white. And we're going to put a nice even coat of this on here. We don't need it too thick, but we also don't want it too thin. You want good coverage. So just blending that all the way through the nail and a little bit on the side there. Get a nice even coat all the way through the nail. And you can put a little bit of pressure on your brush. Make sure that you get that color all the way through. And again, just getting good even coverage. Okay, I think we are good there. I'm going to switch over to my Flash and Burn again. And again, we're going to use that same kind of sugaring technique. And get really good coverage over the whole nail. Make sure you get all of those areas coated and it will start to absorb in that powder. Okay, tap off your extra. So again, you guys, this is a design that I saw on the internet and I thought, oh my gosh, it's so cute. but it looks so hard. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. And it's actually fairly easy, okay? All I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a wipe, and I've got a little bit of swipe on there, and I'm just gonna take a dotting tool. And we're gonna kind of carve out our design. I'm gonna do a snowflake, maybe a couple of little extra snowflakes in there. But all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start in the center. I'm gonna give myself a little circle dot, and I'm just kind of carving into that color that we've got in there. So that's why I like to use the Mission Control versus maybe a gel polish or even something that's a little thicker, because this way it's not gonna run and move. So I'm just gonna kind of carve out my snowflake design. And as I'm working, after every line, I clean off that dotting tool, because otherwise you can tend to get too much buildup of that product on the dotting tool, and then it's going to mush up your design. Okay, so I'm going to do, it's been brought to my attention that snowflakes have 6 lines, or six petals, if you will, to them. So I'm going to create 6 lines here. And again, cleaning that off after every line. Okay. And then again, just creating whatever kind of shape of your snowflake you want. I'm gonna do some little angles here. I'm gonna go to every other, again, cleaning that off in between. Cleaning that off. And then maybe we'll just do some little lines here, little lines there. Again, however you like your snowflakes to look, get as creative as you like. And I always kind of start from that middle line and work out. That way it's not going to kind of clump up inside there. Okay. If you want, you can do other kind of little tiny snowflakes, just quick little easy ones to accent your design. I've seen people write "let it snow" on the nail, and I think that's super cute because, again, it's just a snowy kind of a nail, just really fun for the winter time. And again, just adding little accents. If you want to just add some little dots, you can just do some little dots and just some super cute little accents. So nice and easy. And then we'll pop that into the light. Okay, so our nails are both cured out fully. Again, this one I'm just going to dust off a little bit of that excess, and you've got your snowy winter designs. So like I said, you guys, super easy, kind of quick and painless. So hopefully you guys can add these into some of your winter designs.
Subscribe channel now. Subscribe channel now. Sub and subscribe to channel now.